Good afternoon, sir.
Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sorry, sir, there is no audio.
Acha. Is it audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Okay. Okay. So I consulted with regional center and they told me that within 10 minutes they're giving times to let the learners join. And they complained that some learners they join just after 15 minutes, a half an hour, 1 hour like this, so that they cannot continue this
Sir,
process and they only. Okay, okay.
sir, I've been trying to join from
Hello.
4 o'clock. From 4:01, I'm trying to join the class, but nobody accepted me.
Okay.
Same problem is also here.
Same problems maybe with other students. They may be waiting for,
Yes, sir,
but
same here.
the problem they told me this thing that you please let them know that this is the things and we don't allow students just after half an hour and let them join by 10 minutes. So this is their instruction. So we have to follow their guidelines and I think all the learners should follow the guidelines of regional center. They open just at 4 o'clock, and if certain technical problem is there, it may delay for 5 minutes or 4 minutes like this, but after that everything will be set right. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Uh, Actually, as I told to you to start, this is because we have completed 5 plays so far, and I think look back in anger will be 6 play. And if you get prepared these 6 plays, uh, it will be enough for you for examination point of view, and you may not read all that 9 dramas you have in syllabus, and you will know the synopsis and the matter of the drama. But so far examination is concerned, you need to prepare minimum six play. If you prepare, then you'll find questions and you will able to answer all your questions, because other three you'll be laxed by other three topics, so that the this play look back in anger. It's John Osborne. Uh, we are talking about this drama. That's actually this was prepared. This play was prepared for 17 to 18 days by Osborne, and it was strongly, you can say, it's an autobiographical piece based on Osborne's unhappy marriage to actress Pamela Lane. In particular, the life cramped accommodation in Dorville.
Sir, your voice is not clear.
Uh, it's not clear. Am I
No, sir.
audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But your voice is breaking, sir.
Okay. There may be some problem. I told this play is an autobiographical piece that is based on playwright's unhappy marriage. As you know, he married to actress Pamela. In Norway. And he was aspiring for his career. And this man, he was aspiring for knowledge. How to acquire more and more knowledge, Osborne was trying for that. But his wife, she was very practical, as well as very materialistic. And what is the best remember? Some of these are directed against generalized British middle class smugness in the post atomic world. And many are directed against the female characters, a very distinct echo of Osborne's uneasiness with women, including his mother, Nellie Beatrice. And the playwright describes this thing in his autobiography, right? So, and this note, the title, if you come to title of the play, Look Back in Anger, we find what is immediately apparent about the title, Look Back in Anger, is that it reads like an injunction telling one to perform a particular action, that of looking back. Whether this command is directed towards the audience, the character, or indeed even towards the play as a whole remain unclear. The third way you can say studying the title is to divide our attention between the two themes embodied in it. The action of looking back, the emotion of anger. And this emotion of anger has been dealt with in the previous chapters of the play, and you need to coherence them. Okay, as I told, this is a realistic play, and this reflects the reality in the life of all couples. I can remind you that it is not my version, but it is version of some philosophers, that it is very difficult to find happy couple on this earth, and wherever you go, you'll find the wife is talking against her male partner, and male partner talks against his female partner, and the male partner always find comfortable with the wives of neighborhood, vice versa. The same thing happens in case of women also. So there is a conflict. All times you'll find is going on in between couple life, and this has been explained realistically by the playwright Osborne, and it focus on the life and material struggles of an intelligent and educated but disaffected young man of working class origin, because the hero of this topic, it is Jimmy Porter. Right? Helena Charles, friend Alison Porter, she also belongs to upper middle class family. And Colonel Eric Ford was the father of Alison Porter. Only these characters that you find in this play, and that Jimmy is very fond of knowledge. He's trying to acquire knowledge like Ulysses. Okay, like
Sir,
Ulysses.
your voice is not audible.
It's not audible.
Now, because the
Is
sound
it clear
is,
now?
now it's clear. Sometimes it
Okay.
becomes like there's echo. We don't understand what you're
Uh,
saying. Excuse me
Due
to
to
interrupt you, sir.
no excuse, because we need to interact among ourselves, because if there is certain problems, unless you say about that problem, then how that will be sorted out. This is
Now
the
it's
things
very
actually.
clear.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So, uh, working class people uh, or employees who are compensated with the wage or salary based contract, working class occupation include to blue collar job, and most members of the working class rely exclusively upon earning from wage labor, right? So he belongs to that society, and Jimmy, he belongs to that society. Cliff, his friend, also belongs to that society, and you find that Jimmy is very well educated, but disaffected young man of working class origin. So he's equally competent yet impassive upper middle class wife, Alicia. The supporting characters include Cliff Lewis, because both very close, they're staying together. Cliff Lewis, Jimmy Potter, and Jimmy's wife Alison, all are staying under same roof. And Jimmy has no complaint and no suspicion for his friend Cliff Lewis. And Lewis was very amiable and who attempts to keep the peace in between husband and wife. Okay. Actually, the playwright drew its inspiration from his personal life and falling marriage with Pamela while writing Look Back in Anger. Right. This play spawned the term angry young man to describe Osborne and those of his generation who employed the harshness of realism in theatre in contrast to the more escapist theatre that characterized the previous generation. So we find that when the play opens on a on Sunday, April afternoon, we find Jimmy and his wife's current attic in the Midland. Jimmy and Cliff and the Sunday paper, plus the Radical Weekly, right? And this is a reference that we find when we come upon the reference new statement, the reading, and they collect new information. And in the context of the period would have instantly signaled the player's political preference to the audience. Alison is attempting to do the week's ironing and it's only half listening at Jimmy and Cliff engaged in expository dialogue. Both friends are talking with each other, and Alison just ironing the clothes of Jimmy, and we find apparent there is a huge social gulf between Jimmy and Alison. And here the playwright wants to show us the differences of classes, mismatching of classes. So marriage that should take place in same status, because Jimmy is always affected by that inertia, because she knew that the labor he has done throughout his life to get himself educated, to get a job, to earn livelihood, the labor that he had done in his life to reach in that stage, this labor cannot be understood by Alison because she belongs to upper middle class society. They live comfortable and luxurious life. They don't have any problem. They cannot understand the mentality of lower class people. But we find Alison is not a girl like that. In spite of that, but Jimmy has already accepted, no, she can never change her mentality. This has been instinctive quality in the thought of Alison. So he is not ready at all to accept the mentality or the mindset of his wife, Alison. He has already accepted that as he belongs to upper middle class family, she will not able to understand my problem. My problem means it's Jimmy's problem. So her family is upper middle class military because her father was colonel, and Jimmy belongs to working class. and he had to fight hard against her family's disapproval to win her. You see, because, and this is the discontent, that because Alishan's parents would not permit or let Alishan marry with a man of low class, low status. But this was not mentality. She was a very good girl and possessed very positive mentality, and she liked Jimmy's personality, so that she gave her hand to Jimmy. And you can, Alishan's mommy and Jimmy took one look at each other, and from then, on the age of Chivali was bet, that you see that in this way that it has been explained. We also learned that the sole family income is derived from a sweets confectionery stall in the local market, an enterprise that is still well been, and their livelihood out of that. Cliff is extending all sorts of help to his friend, right? And the closeness, the talking, and the intimacy that we find with Jimmy and Cliff, that Jimmy may spare. He is ready to live Alishan, but he can't live without Cliff. You see, such intimacy that you find in between two friends. So Jimmy becomes more and more, I should say that, vituperative and transferring his contempt for Alishan's family onto her personally, calling her, that is, and generally belittling her. And he is trying to belittle her. So you imagine, Jimmy thinks everything is just a joke, while others play it as though he really is excoriating. You see, the tyrant ends with the physical horseplay, resulting in ironing boats, overturning, and Alishan's are getting bored, because this sorts of he was mentally balanced, and she was engaged in certain work, and Jimmy was pinching in his expression. Alishan, she's trying to convince, but fruitless. So he left Alishan and Cliff, both they remain in the room. Alishan and Cliff, that confines that she's accidentally pregnant. And one thing that I would like to tell to this thing has not been exposed by Alishan before her husband. Alishan is free to speak to Cliff, the friend of Jimmy, but she was not comfortable expressing this secrecy before her husband. And now you can realize, we, with the readers, with the viewers, we should realize what happens among them. What relationship Alishan had with Cliff,
And while Cliff and Alison both are very comfortable to each other, and Jimmy did not have any doubt on his friend Cliff. And she told accidentally she was pregnant and can't quite bring herself to tell Jimmy. And this is her expression that she cannot expose or disclose the secrecy before her husband. So Cliff asks her to tell him, because Cliff is a very gentleman and he is really true to Jimmy, and his personality, his trustfulness is well understood by Jimmy. And here, he suggested to Alison, at least Jimmy should know about this matter. When Jimmy returns, Alison announced that her actress friend Helena Charles is coming to stay. Actually, Alison was in angry mood. He was an angry young man, and he get angry all of a sudden. Unexpectedly, that anger comes. The audience or the readers, they cannot imagine the personality of Jimmy, because the complex that is very effectively working in his thought all times. And when he came to know that her actress friend Helena was coming to their residence, and he could not tolerate that, right? And Jimmy despises Helena even more than Alison. So he flies into a rage. And next, we come to next situation. Even in the next afternoon, that we find Helena, Alison, they're making lunch, and Alison disclosing this secrecy before Helena, that she decided to marry Jimmy because of her own minor rebellion against her upbringing, and her admiration for Jimmy's campaigns against the dereliction of life in post-war England. She describes Jimmy to Helena as a knight in shining armor. Both friends, when they're talking in between them, she disclosed the secrecy that why did she prefer, or why did she opt for Jimmy to marry? Because Jimmy was a rebellious character, rebellious nature, and because this type of tendency, activities, and attitude is preferred by Alison, because she belongs to a colonel's family, a defense family. The defense blood was still flowing in her blood, flowing in her body. And she described that she prefers Jimmy as a knight in shining armor, right? So knight in shining armor, you see, it's a very highly preferable that she
like this very much. She liked this very much. Then Jimmy comes again. He continued the tirade that material could be played as a joke. There is no doubt about the intentional viciousness of his attacks on Helena. Women put on hats and declared that they are going to church because she could not tolerate, because she did not like Helena, that his wife should go to church with Helena, because he had not accepted Helena as a true girl. She must be conspiring something against him. It is Jimmy who was carrying this thought. And you can just mark that how the complex keep him irritated, keep the character irritated.
We find and sees in his residence. She has come for certain work and she would spend some times in his family. And again, that Helena and Alison both are going to church. And this action did not appeal to Jimmy. Again, he gets angry, right? And you see that Jimmy sense of betrayal peaks when he leaves to take an urgent phone call. This time, Helena declared that she has forced the issue. She has sent a telegram to Alison's parent asking them to come and rescue her. Alison is stunned but agrees that she will go. And it is unnecessary interference of Helena. And why did she acted like this? What intention she was carrying, this is not known. In one hand, we find Jimmy was not satisfied with Helena, and she did not prefer his wife Alison to be accompanied by Helena to go to church. On the other hand, we find in the same situation, Helena already declared that she had sent a telegram to Alison's father so that her father would arrive and take Alison away from this place, only to make her free from these sorts of clumsiness, from these sorts of unconducive atmosphere, because she wanted Alison should live peacefully for some times. She should make herself free from these sorts of discontent of Jimmy. And we find Alison's father, Colonel Redford, comes to collect her to take her back to her family home. And Colonel to come across as quite a sympathetic character, although totally out of touch with the modern world, as himself admits. You see, and he speaks that Colonel speaks
that Red Pond Colonel speaks, you are hot because everything is changed. Allison tells him, and Jimmy is hot because everything had stayed the same. You see. And this dialogue with father and son, if you just imagine and compare, you can understand everything had been changed. Warfare, society, lifestyle, attitude, everything changed the mindset of human beings. But Alishan replied, you see, everything stayed the same. Her father told everything had been changed, but daughter told everything stayed the same. Now Helena comes to goodbye, and she to leave very soon, that she will leave this place very soon, and as she had short notice, and she would continue stay there for some times, even after parting of Alishan. But Alishan could not understand that Helena is staying on for another day. And this also put her in surprise. She will be upset. Two young men, her husband Jimmy and Clip, both will be there, and Helena, an outsider, she will be there in absence of her friend Alishan. So you see, Alishan she gave Clip a note for Jimmy that he please give this information and note to Jimmy. But Clip in turn hands it to Helena and leaves saying, I hope he ramps it up your nostril. And you imagine that note was given by Alishan for her husband Jimmy to Clip, but Clip could not tolerate the presence of Helena. She thought, I must leave this place before Jimmy arrived. So he handed over that note to Helena so that she would give that to Jimmy. Jimmy, we find Jimmy, his contempt at finding a goodbye note makes him turn on Helena's again, warning her to keep out of his way until she leaves. Helena tells him that Alishan is expecting a baby, and Jimmy admits grudgingly that he has taken aback. However, his trade continues because this news made Jimmy hot, because he was not expecting any child from Alishan, and she should abhorrent that child. But this was impossible on part of a mother. You just know this news also uh, put him in irritation when he heard that Alison went away and left her friend Helena in a residence, and again Jimmy will have to stay with Helena there. We find there is a little problem, and he gave him a bloody thrust, but in return Helena gave him a kiss. He planted a kiss, and that will the sapling up relationship will grow after that. And we find both where, and when a male and female they're fighting with each other, their fighting ended by kissing to each other passionately and falling on the bed. And we can imagine this is the Freudism is very effective, that you find how Osborne has given this dialogue and established this relationship in between a male and female. The attraction, the passion, and the need, how that is prompting opposite sex to be close to each other, and both were fighting, both were expressing their discontent against each other, but that was ended by passionate love or kissing. Now, you can imagine Jimmy is notable more pleasant to Helena than he was to Alison. She actually laughs at his jokes. The three of them, Jimmy, Cliff, and Helena, get into a music hall. Comedy routine that obviously is not improvised. Cliff announced that he has decided to strike out on its own. Jimmy leaves room to get ready for a final night out for the three of them. You just imagine. He opens the door to find Alison looking like death. He snaps over his soldiers. Friend of yours, to see you, and abruptly leave. Now you see, the relationship that we find in between Cliff and Alison, and the relationship that we find with Helena and Jimmy, and when Alison is absent, she admitted in medical, and she was under treatment for her child, which she could not able to give her life, give that child life. This time that Alison explains to Helena that, and you just imagine friends of yours to see you and abruptly leave. Alison now telling to Helena she lost the baby. She lost the baby. That when a woman lost a baby, that Alison, she also expressed Alison, this was expectation of Alison because he did not like to give birth that child. Okay. And two women, Helena and Alison, reconcile. But Helena realizes that immoral. We realize that it's done immoral. It's not moral. She in turn decides to leave. And she Jimmy to hear her decision and lets her go with a sarcastic farewell. Right? And Helen, he left the place. So the sentimental reconciliation, Jimmy and Alison, they revive the old game. You see, they revive the old game. You imagine that's bear and squirrel. You see, you just come back. That young husband and wife, they attempt to what should I say, navigate class conflict, and they deal with a deteriorating marriage, that marital life was continuing in this process. And the traditional belongingness to upper class society, if we see Alison and we see that Jimmy from a working class background, and they live with another young man, that Cliff Lewis, affable working class man, and his permanent friend, we can understand the post-war time, the post-war life in England. So what we find that Cliff helps Alison. And we find Clip and Alison, they were very close to each other and giving kiss. And that scene is seen by Jimmy, but Jimmy is not reacted. He accepted that as usual. See, and both are very comfortable to each other, right? And Clip all times is found reminding Alison that Jimmy has a deep love for you. Right? When he kisses Alison, when Clip kisses Alison, Jimmy enters.
He did not object. You just man. It's a non-traditional setup that would have been shocking to audience at the time. But Clip leaves to get some cigarettes, and Alison and Jimmy share tender moments. They play their beer and squirrel game. So
that game allowed them to escape into affection while pretending to be animals. The Clip returns, then Clip returns and says that Helena, Charles, that Alison's upper class friend is on phone. Jimmy's mood immediately darkened. When Alison says that Helena wants to stay with them, Jimmy explodes. He says that he wishes that Alison would have a baby that would die so that she could experience true suffering. That Helena and Alison, we find sharing the womanly duties of the home while Jimmy plays his trumpet upstage. And Alison tells Helena about her first month with Jimmy. You see, this is the commenter that continues, that goes on in between two friends when they meet after a long time. They lived with his working class friend, Hawk Tanner. Hawk Tanner, another character, this is very minor character, that is Hugh Tanner was the friend of Jimmy, who had given shelter and provided all sorts of help to Jimmy and Alison at the beginning of their marriage life. Hugh Tanner. Actually, both are very obliged to Hugh Tanner. Now, if you come to know this, when the talk was going on in between two friends, Helena asks why they got married. Alison and Jimmy, why you both got married? And Alison's answer was, Alison's mother and her father, Colonel Redfern, they did not approve this marriage. And that made Jimmy want to marry, or no matter what Jimmy and Clip coming to it, when he hears that Helena and Alison are going on to church, both together, Jimmy also becomes convinced that Helena is out to take Alison away from him. And this is always a negative thought that arouses, that prompting him all times, because she was not comfortable with Alison, and even if he did not tolerate the presence of Alison's friend Helena. And when they were going to church, Jimmy thought perhaps this Helena was taking his wife Alison from him, and she must be misleading to his wife Alison. He suspected Helena, and he lets
say that very practical thing that when she put, and he tells the story of watching his father die from wounds received fighting in Spanish Civil War when he was 10 years old. See, because Helena retaliated against the behavior of
Jimmy. So she asked one thing to Jimmy, whether, right, and Jimmy also put this, whether Helena has ever watched someone die. He tells the story of watching his father die from wounds, received fighting in the Civil War. At that time, he was only 10 years old. And he learned a lot what life is out of death of his father. And he blamed regarding life. So for life is concerned, the value of life, the reality of life, the reality of labor, that he had realized Helena and Alison had never got that. And Jimmy leaves to go get the telephone because Hugh's mom was in problem. Jimmy leaves to go get the telephone. While he has gone, Helena tells Alison that she has sent a message to Colonel Electron asking him to come and pick up her. So Alison did not protest. But in return, Jimmy found Hugh's mom, the working class woman, who set him up in his candy stall and for whom he harbors deep affections, is dying of stroke. And he asked Alison to accompany him to come to hospital. That you please don't go to church. This is not the time. This is the reality that you can understand. That we find fault with Jimmy because Jimmy is an angry young man. And Jimmy requests Alison and informed Alison that his friend Hughes, who had given them shelter in their early marriage life, his mother is in hospital and he died of stroke. But it is Alison was not kind. He was not compassionate at the death of Hugh's mother. You see, and Hugh's mother was a working class woman, right? And Jimmy asks Alison to come to hospital instead of going to church. But Alison did not accompany Jimmy to meet their friend Hugh. And just after this, you see that when Redfern comes to Alison and packed everything to leave, he reveals that he thinks he and Alison's mother reacted too strongly to her marriage with Jimmy. Because when a father finds these problems of his daughter, they will certainly get angry. And he reminds his daughter, Alison, that we were not agree with this marriage. We're strongly opposing this. Jimmy might have been right to be angry with them. Jimmy could be right that he actually Redfern is a relic of an old version of England that has ceased to exist. That he and Alison have a tendency to stay neutral and not take a strong stand on things, right? And Alison is surprised to hear this from him, and as finishes packing briefly, a, uh, a considers her move. Then Helena is coming, and Alison decides to go, and she says goodbye to Clip. Helena stays behind because she has a set of work meeting after this, so that Alison and Colonel Redfern, they went away. Clip angry that Helena had disrupted their life because she had sent this telegram to her father. Otherwise, her father would not come to this place and took his daughter with him. And Clip got angry. You can now imagine Clip got angry because his friend's life is disrupted by Helena. Actually, we can feel the deepness of relationship in between Jimmy and Clip. And Jimmy returns a few moments later and became furious, having seen Alison living with her father on his way home. So Helena gives him a letter that Alison wrote explaining her decision. And Jimmy is angry at her polite, restrained language. Helena tells him that Alison is going to have a baby. And he says that he's not overcome with emotion at this news and insults Helena and gave him a bloody thrash on her face. This causes Jimmy to collapse in despair. Then Helena kisses him passionately, and we can find that Helena is doing the same thing for Jimmy what Alison was doing earlier. In April afternoon, when the audience come upon the first scene, they found both friends Cliff and Jimmy were reading newspaper and Sunday newspaper, their special newspaper they are reading, and Ali Jimmy's club, and Jimmy, we find Helena is also ironing the cloth of Jimmy. That affection again planted there. The relation, the love planted there. As if there is a, you just can imagine. It is very natural. It's a very biological and Freudian thought. So no one is fixed with the other. But for sometimes we feel that we are living for our spouse and spouse feel the same thing. But if both will be separated and if they come upon another partner, again they will correct themselves. And again they will settle that the old remain old, new always renew the life of this desperate couples. And Clip is joking and discuss about newspaper articles, and Clip dirties his shirt. Helena leaves to clean it, and while she is upstairs, Clip tells Jimmy that he is moving out. Jimmy wonders why he always chooses women over male friendship, even though he values Clip's company more highly than he values Helena's. You see, imagine this thing that friendship, if you have read of friendship of friendship of Francis Bacon, you can imagine that actually friendship is a bare necessity in the life of all human beings. We not only share our feelings, we also merriment, we enjoy our times, and you can live without company of an opposite sex, but you cannot live without company of a friend, because a friend scientifically is more needed in life of all. Leave it up. So that's why Jimmy is more comfortable and very close to Cliff than to Helena. That Helena tells Jimmy that she loves him, and he asks her desperately to never leave him. And he asks her, you see, in return, Helena tells Jimmy she loves him. And in response to the interrogative mark, it was Jimmy asks her desperately to never leave him. Alison appears at the door and he found looking sick and disheveled. Disheveled. You just imagine. And Jimmy playing his trumpet of face. Alison tells Helena she is not angry with her, you see. And Alison realized what happened in between Jimmy and Helena, and Alison reminds Helena that she is not angry with her and is not trying to break up the new couple, you see. Helena, however, says that Alison's presence has reminded her that what she's doing is wrong. Alison has also had a miscarriage, and Helena considers this a judgment on her relationship. And she calls Jimmy back and tells him that she is leaving. You see, Helena, she expressed her humanitarian opinion, and she told, I should not interrupt the couple life of my friend and her husband. And Helena calls Jimmy and tells him she's leaving. And you see what was the reaction of Jimmy? Jimmy says that he always knew Helena was not strong enough for true love. So how they accept the reality, it's a matter of great concern. You just imagine, both passionately fell in love of each other. In spite of that, Helena applied her second thought, and she thought that I must not continue here because the couple life of my friend Alison will be interrupted if she remained present there, because Jimmy was in love with her. And she told this thing to Jimmy, but Jimmy told, and she knew this because Helena was not strong enough for true love, which requires muscles and guts. Then Helena left that place. And we find Alison apologies, and Jimmy saying that she should have sent flowers to Hugh's mom, and remembers his first meeting with her when he thought that she had a wonderful relaxation of spirit. This turned out to be just complacence. Alison let out a cry and tells him that the loss of their child has made her understand the depth of emotion that he wanted her to have all this time. She tells him that she wants to be corrupt and futile and collapses at his feet. Jimmy cannot bear to see her this way and kneels to help her. And then, with a kind of mocking, tender, ironically, he launches into their bear and squirrel imaginary game. Poor squirrels. Alicia, bears, and Jimmy, actual poor squirrel, and Alicia responds, Helen, poor bear. You just imagine. So this is that the thing that we find in the book. Actually, when we discuss this play, that Jimmy and Cliff, both friends, they belong to working class society. They share many of the same viewpoints and live together throughout the play. That we find this play when Helena and Cliff live and Alison and Jimmy can finally have their reconciliation. Alison finally understands pains and loss, while Jimmy finally understands that his anger blinded him to the love he needed. Right? So Jimmy calls Alison. He feels it's passive and unwilling to commit to any real course of action to change. Right? That angry young man character that Osborne helped create, Jimmy is angry at the alienation and classism. He feels it's holding him down. So this also manifests as misogyny towards his wife. In the end, his anger amounts to nothing, only alienates him further. Right? And this play, okay, within that there is continuity. There is no gap in performance, or in the action that we find. And the play always continues and finds Jimmy becomes more emotionally abusive towards Alison, belittling her to clip. The two men rob house and accidentally overturn the ironing board, resulting in Alison burning her tire. And Jimmy leaves and Alison confides in claim that she is pregnant, but she can't tell Jimmy when Jimmy returns. Alison tells him that Helena Charles, a friend of hers and an actress, will be staying with them for a while. And this thing, everything as if taking place very as usual. Nothing seriousness is found here, except aberration of that child, loss of that child. And focus on couple life, their relationship, and its ups and downs as it forms the basis of the play. It is the usual things that takes place in between all couples. There are ups and downs always take place in a relationship because that concretize, that ups and downs concretize the relationship of husband and wife. Alison Potter is a passive character, someone born into an upper class family who did not go through the troubles Jimmy did in his own life. And the ending shows both characters care for each other. The beginning of the play shows them at odds on various fronts. He resents her upbringing and calls her that Euslamius intimating says no real try to do much. This is further exaggerated when Helena Charles moves in with them and acts as a catalyst for the play. She is directly responsible for Alison's living, but she then takes her place as Jimmy's partner. The relationship, though it's much different, and we find in third act, this shows Jimmy and Helena seemingly getting along much better than Jimmy and Alison ever did. Right? So, however, given how Alison and Jimmy reconcile not long after this, it's entirely possible that they were simply living the lives they wish to have. Jimmy and Alison managed to see things they had ignored before. Jimmy finds that a recent love from Alison that made his life better, and Alison feels a pain she never really understood or experienced before. Both come to understand the other better, even though they have a long way to go to heal from their ordeal. Okay, so this play reflect the relationship, how they up and down. How this is found in top tip at the very beginning of the play, and how the same relationship settled at last. So that we got idea to Jimmy Potter, a provocateur described as a disconcerting mixture of sincerity and malice, of tenderness and tributing cruelty, restless, importunate, full of pride, a combination which alienates the sensitive and insensitive alike. He picks on its roommate Clip, who is affable and a peacemaker, putting him down because he's not educated, like Jimmy, because he was half educated, and not learned, like, because to settle the friendship for long period of times. Fine. This also happens in real life. If friends both are of same status and both of them possess equal knowledge, then they cannot be friends to each other long time, for a long period of time, and that will be discontinued because one will be in the upper hand, other will be in lower hand, so that relationship that will continue for a long time. And the same thing happens in case of Jimmy and Cliff. And Jimmy was highly educated and aspirant of knowledge, and Cliff didn't have much education, he was ignorant, and rather he was very true to Jimmy, and Jimmy had much love for Cliff. And Cliff, who is affable and a peacemaker, putting him down because he's not educated. Jimmy says his most vitriolic and poisonous comments for his wife. Jimmy taunts her for her upper middle class upbringing and mocks her family, trying to get a response out of her. But Alison responds with only mild answers and continues irony. The nature that you find with Alison is very mild, is very polite, is very considerate, and she represents the personality of all women, how they endure all the mischief activities of their male counterparts. How? Because yet the playwright has taken much care when she has portrayed the character of Alice. So simple, so polite, so tolerant. Everything that you find with this character. Okay? So Jimmy and Cliff engage in horseplay. Jimmy deliberately pushes Cliff into addition. You see, Jimmy deliberately pushes Cliff into addition, and she's born by the error. Cliff and Allison tell Jimmy he needs to leave. While Jimmy is out of the room, Allison tells Cliff she is pregnant and Jimmy does not know. Cliff encourages her to tell him, but she speaks to Cliff about the marriage and admits that one of the reasons she married him was because her parents opposed the marriage. You see. So the standpoint and the decision of Alison was very, very, what should I say, that I don't find appropriate word to describe the personality of Alison, right? she accepted everything. Even if you just imagine that what happens that when she came to know that Jimmy he was in love with Helena, and she did not like to interpret that, and she was ready to share her love for her friend. She was also this sorts of behavior and personality reflect the broadness and broad mentality of Alisha. And Alisha did not have any hesitation when she offered a place to her friend Helena. That Jimmy, who can't stand Helena angrily, lashes out at the end of his tirade. He cruelly tells Alisha, if only something will happen to you and wake you out of your beauty sleep, if you could have a child, let a recognizable human face emerge. If only I could watch you face that, I wonder if you might even become a recognizable human being yourself, but I doubt it. And this statement of Helena is not small, it's a very psychological things that we mark at the statement of Helena, right? So Alison, Caleb, Jimmy are now living together. It's a tense situation, and Helena and Jimmy repeatedly butt heads. Helena convinces Alison that she needs to go back home to her parents. Alison does not, so while Jimmy is away visiting a friend's mother with time. So in return, they had a fight. Helena tells him about the baby. He tells her he does not care. And we found that at the end of fight, they have sex. And Helena takes Alison's place. And when Alison returns to the old apartment, she lost the baby and looking extremely unhealthy after abortion. And she and Helena talk. Helena leaves the apartment for good. Jimmy is unsympathetic to Alison until she pleads with him and tells him, don't you see I am the god at last? I'm groveling, I'm crawling. Jimmy saying that Alison has experienced the terrible experience he wished upon her, and feeling that she could now understand him better because she knew what it's like to get hurt, comforts her, and they reconcile. Right? And at last I can say this much. This play chronicles the story of an angry young man who wants his wife and the world to feel the same what he has left. He wants to punish those who have heard the fortune of not having experienced the pain he has had in life. This is very, I think, because the man who has suffered a lot, how could we and when he finds other comfortable and luxurious position, and will be envious of them, because he understood that whatever they have achieved in their life, they have achieved comfortably. Actually, that doesn't happen. All human beings, they struggle hard to achieve something else. And this psychologically, if you just look after this thing, then you can understand the man who became rich, he must have done certain hard labor to reach at that position. And the man who is struggling, he feels the man who is in comfortable job, he must not have realized the pain of labor, the pain of sacrifice. You see, and whoever he may be, all are trying, they're working hard, because we all are competing with each other to excel, to go ahead. And certainly, when we all are moving ahead, there will be competition. There will be struggle. Feels the rich, they have not realization, and rich persons, they find that poor to think something broadly, and they find them the men of narrow mentality, and poor people find bourgeois class people, they're the exploiter, they're exploiting us. But when the play was written, you just imagine, all are trying to go up. All are trying. When the poor become rich, he may remember the past. It may not be the rich men who were rich, who were born in rich and silver spoon in mouth. He will die silver spoon in mouth. How that could be? And this has not been seen. Some sorts of pain, some sorts of suffering, some sorts of agony. And no, this will not hit to any human being. This is common thing to the life of all human being. Right? But here, it is a partial thought of Jimmy. So he wants to punish those who have had the fortune, not having experienced the pain he has had in life. You just imagine that Jimmy, we don't have any relationship either with Jimmy or not any relationship with Alicia. They belong to different status, and both status are placed before the audience. Both they belong to different class and categories that is placed before us, and we, the audience and reader, become very much emotional at the time of reading and watching the play. This thing happens. You see, actually, we don't place ourselves in the place of impartiality. We think something partially, so that you cannot be critics, you cannot find a right conclusion. And if we belong to sufferer group, we can extend our support to Jimmy. If we belong to upper middle class group, we will fall in love of Alicia and Helena. Actually, this is not the reality. The reality is that suffering is common to all human beings, right? And this realization, you need to realize this. You need to realize this so that you can find you can be a critic. And that we throughout play, we have marked that how hatred towards women, right? Jimmy does not feel like he deserves Alicia and must make her small so that she is equal for even beneath him. He also has negative things to say about women in general, commenting on how noisy, insensitive, and clumsy women are. Jimmy refers to women as butchers and makes a comment on the internal flaming racket of the female. Imagine this thing as if women are not human beings. If you read the second sex of Simone de Beauvoir, you can realize that how women are not treated as self. They're not as good as their male partner. They're subservient. They're second-class citizen. They're second-class human being on this earth. So Ajit, Alison had come to take shelter under the arm of Jimmy, and Jimmy was just showing his charity and generosity, extending his cooperative hand to Alison. And this sorts of differentiate that we find when we come upon those characters. Okay. So this look back in anger is over. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Perhaps uh, may I have any classes tomorrow?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
No, sir.
Uh, who is
This is
there
the
is
last
going to
class
engage? Who is there to engage your class tomorrow?
Shri Tapas Kumar Das.
Acha. What MEG will
MEG3.
it teach?
MEG3.
MEG3. But what's about MEG5? Criticism?
Literary criticism.
Have you allotted with the counselor who is there to discuss that?
Yes, Dr. Nrsimhacharan Mishra.
Okay. MEG5.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have discussed 5 plays, and I think you got certain idea about the topic, right?
Sir, I have a question, please.
Okay.
Sir, when we say that, like a question in the exam, we say comment on, for example, look back in anger. When they say comment, should we focus on social background, themes, and language used, characters? Is it enough?
Oh,
Should talk
oh,
about something?
no. You see that these are the categorical things that we need to know. But the thing is, you should know the theme of the topic, theme of the play. Thereafter, you start writing about Osborne, his style of writing, the age he represents and reflects in play, and the character. If you write the summary and thereafter you also analyze the character after writing the summary. Okay, you first you give impression to the examiner that you are well aware of the summary, the fact of the book. Thereafter, you may analyze the character. And if you do this thing and give your conclusion, your own opinion at last, I think you will create better impression for valuation and will be awarded good percentage of mark in this way. Okay.
I should start talking about the theme first.
You should start talking about the playwright.
Okay. So I talk about the playwright. The playwright. Then I talk about playwright. Then style.
The age.
Yes, sir. Then I write the summary.
Wants to discuss issues. You, after giving brief idea about the topic, you just critically interpret the topic in your own way, out of your own understanding, right? And you say something both traditional and your innovative idea. If you mix them together, it will create better impression, and you let the examiner know that you have not only read the theme of the topic, but you have understood that very deeply and differently.
So right? I have, excuse me, sir. So I have to relate the play with the with nowadays life.
The contemporarity. If you relate the play with contemporarity, if you relate the play with other plays that you have read, the characters that you have read or come upon in other plays, if you just relate them at the time of your description, writing the answer, then it will create better impression. But you should not take much time writing a single answer, because you are given 5 answers and each question carries 20 marks. And if you go on doing research in your writing, it will consume a lot of time, so that you cannot able to attend all questions. So you should be very careful, and you should be conscious of your time and questions that you have with you, that how much time you should invest for one question and how much pages that should continue, and so that you can manage to consume that 3 hours 1:1, right? So all that 3 hours could be managed very properly. Okay.
Yes, sir. I have one last question. Why, when you put the questions, for example, the extract from each play, you don't write, or you give the name of the author, the playwright, and the act? So I feel like it's like giving something abstract, because when we used when I was at the university, they used it to give us the quote, and behind it's written the act, the play, and the playwright.
The background and
Yes, because when you give like extract like that, like in the assignment, for example, without giving the playwright, and I feel like it's you make students lost. I don't know to which play it belongs.
Or sometimes this happens, that extract that the set in question paper, you find it difficult to find out which play that quotation belongs to. Unless you go through the text thoroughly, you just cannot find that, right?
and it is not that
Yes, but
easy.
I think it's something that it makes the students stuck. And the day of the exam,
That
it's not easy. It's not
that
easy.
is proper, that is the proper way of studying. But if you find that almost all students they are engaged somewhere and they have come to do their course in so I think as they are busy scheduled, and out of that whether they would get much
Because
time
it's
to.
the first time, sir, it's the first time I found this because even when I went to the USA, the exams weren't like that.
Okay, that happens because because you'll find
Why?
you'll be.
Why in India you make it difficult?
So this is the style, because the question number one, they set 5 questions. They put certain extracts from different plays, and each extract carries 5 marks. Total, you'll have to attend 4 questions, and that carries 20 marks. So that the question number one becomes very difficult for you, because it is difficult to know, very difficult to know where it comes from. And so
Yes.
actually, I don't favor this thing. I don't favor this thing because uh, we don't have much time to go through. Because if you read that Hamlet, is it practicable? And that will take not less than 1 year to complete that text, original text of William Shakespeare, right? So because the dialogues you have to acquainted yourself and you have to understand. So because teacher we are not doing that. We are just discussing, giving over discussion on the matter, right? So we cannot give concrete ideas. We give brief ideas about the matter. So with these sorts of activities, how the question is set in this way, I don't understand that actually. This because this is the common questions that I find everywhere with almost all students. They put the same question, sir. How is it possible that if I just put a stanza from John Donne and you just cannot imagine, right? If suppose I have set a stanza from John Donne's poem in MEG-1, and
Because
only.
each age, excuse me, sir, because each age has like, let's say a number, like 20, 30 playwrights or poets. So, how am I going to guess who's writing this stanza? Because do I have to read all the poems of each poet, or do I have to read every play or novel? Because here what I found it difficult is that all of you, the professors, because it's online, you cover all the syllabus like in 8 sessions, and we have to read all the materials which is online, and we have to read the books with the plays with the poets. So it's like, I feel that I will finish by going crazy.
It is just to over the text and finish the text. As if we are not very much careful that whether students should do better, we are not taking care of that, right? So uh, this is the problem, because this is not with you. We find the same problem with almost all learners, and this is common problem
Because
with all
in
learners.
other universities, so I don't know who's writing all these questions or putting the exams, but in other universities in USA, Britain, even in Tunisia, in my country, they don't put questions like this, like these questions, like when you give extract, please give the writer, the author of this extract. So just give me the pathway so I can instead of losing my time thinking about who wrote this quote, I have to start making my plan. How am I going to analyze, to comment, make
Actually, it's
this?
Igno.
I find this very
Majda,
difficult.
it's actually
I to be
Igno's way of, this is actually Igno's way of making you do more work and get the degree, making you thorough with the content. This is
So,
the Igno's way of doing.
so, but at least IGNOU should understand the background of students, that all the
But
students those are
it's
coming, they're not
unfair.
coming with full times. They're not
Sir,
engaged
I do
24
agree.
hours. They're doing other works and they
Sir,
have come here to do a course. And it
sir,
doesn't mean
I
that
do
one will
agree, sir.
engage all this time to get himself prepared for this examination. So at least this
Sir,
should
I
be
do agree,
understood
sir.
by the this should be understood by question setter, that how should we make it easy so that all students can
Like
able to
for
attend all
us,
that answer.
sir, we are
Okay.
international
So
students.
the
I'm not
problem
talking
is,
about
sir,
Indian students.
sir, the problem
We
is actually in MA level, we are expected to read a lot. If we are in normal regular college, whether it's distance education or regular college, they are expected to read a lot, because after this, they are directly entering into PhD to read researches, and some of them enter into UGC
Yusra,
clear net or into colleges. So they must be, if they are
Yusra,
going for post graduation, most of the universities or in colleges in Chennai, where I studied personally, we did a lot of reading for UG level. At least here, IGNOU is giving us textbook. There they used to only give us just a syllabus sheet. We had to hunt for every poem, every text. Our professors come, they just take class, they leave. Every notes we have to hunt. This is in UG level, I'm saying. So I felt that maybe they are making us thorough with the English content, because as such literature, maybe I don't know about other countries. In India, literature is difficult to study.
Yusra, I personally, I don't agree with what you're saying, because in other countries they don't give such, it's not this way they study. Because before I did a master degree and MA in linguistics, applied linguistics, and now I'm doing MA in literature. So it's not the same way. When you talk about giving students all this work, for me, I find it's unfair. So just I don't know. I am international student, and I'm not from India, and I find this bizarre. You know, this is
Possible
the right
for
word.
I do
regular students.
understand,
Bizarre.
but
It's
And
something.
I have a small suggestion. I have a small suggestion. If you let me
no,
add on to
you
the
see,
facts that you
IGNOU
have said.
course is very tough.
Yes, sir, I have a small suggestion for everyone, as
Okay.
most of them are new to the course, and it's quite difficult for sometimes that we don't have the exact text for individual courses. We have the excerpts in the material that is being provided. That is in the form of notes. So, what are the ways that we can cope up with the exams? First of all, if you are um, intimidated that how the questions can come, you can download the question papers, previous year question papers from the IGNOU website, and you can practice the annotations. That's what we all are doing, and that's how some of the annotations are getting repeated. The second thing that one can do is that in your material you will get excerpts, quote unquote. There are excerpts, and you need to practice that where those keywords are. You can practice those keywords and simultaneously you can look that which play it is coming from. IGNOU also knows that there are many international students and different students from different background, from non-literature background as well. So first thing that one person needs to do is to get hold of the previous year questions, so that you can get to know that how the questions are, and some of the questions get repeated. The third thing that one can do, if you want to do a thorough research for the papers that you are doing, you need to search quotes from Hamlet or quotes from that particular play, important quotes from the play, and you can get some of the important quotes of the plays that are there in a particular play. So these are the ways that one can cope up with the RTCs, or rather than annotations of the particular paper in MEG-2. So this was my suggestion. I know it's quite difficult, and as a student, I also have to face the same thing. As a friend, I have suggested you. It all depends on the practice and the amount of time you give. Distance medium has
So
these issues. that we need to
So
tackle.
actually, whatever you're saying is right. At least we should be thorough with, actually, whatever you're saying is right. We should be at least thorough with the prescribed text. Otherwise, it will be really difficult for us to focus on anything. Because if we are going to expect everything now, then the point of PG level, course itself will be so meaningless. I don't know. From my experience, I'm telling that whatever you are saying is right. We have to be thorough with whatever, at least the content. Mostly they will not go out of the way. Maybe the poet and the playwright general question may be there, but then the excerpts and quotation will be from the prescribed text mostly, I think.
Oh, that's the right thing. But they are talking question arises that how one will get lot of time because one is engaged otherwise, and they come for part-time course, and it is not that possible to go through the text thoroughly because you'll have to give much time for that. They are asking these questions like this because one suggestion that I
Yes,
found with
sir.
one learner,
Yes, sir.
it's a
I
very good
understand that.
suggestion.
I actually we understand that.
This is the problem. The setup is very tough, and expect all learners to be well versed, and they should not be superficial. And IGNO also equal good percentage of mark comparable to regular students, and they're also getting a job like regular students. There's no difference between IGNO and regular students, right? So that passage, for if you see that, because I'm a teacher, I know that the syllabus that we have framed for regular students and the syllabus that I find with IGNO, and IGNO syllabus is very tough and very top, and unless those who are doing
Yeah,
this course,
sir.
they
Actually, the
will
thing, sir.
surely
Actually,
be
the thing
well
is,
versed.
out of most of the university, sir, out of most of the university,
Right.
whoever doing in distance education, like whoever offering distance education, IGNO is the toughest. To be very honest, even in Madras University, I got the textbook
Right.
and it was easy.
Right. Right.
I was supposed to complete my MA in different university, but IGNO, everyone warned me saying that IGNO, you're applying for MA in IGNO, then you are going to work so hard, then you will regret saying that I would have done it in the regular college. But because of my family
Right.
situation, I couldn't go out and do it in regular. So I preferred IGNO because, okay, whatever I'm doing right now, if it is going to be equally worth doing it like in regular, then I know what I'm entering into, because most of the universities which are offering distance education aren't like IGNO. IGNO is toughest. And my friends have done it in IGNO and they used to cry saying that it's very difficult.
No, no, after all,
Actually,
this university is also central university. And after all, that
Yeah,
provides
that's
us
why
with
they say when you get a
oppor-
certificate in IGNO,
with
they
an
say that if even if
opportunity
you get a
to
second class in IGNO, you are you are worthy of first class from other universities. It's like you are more worthy if you get a even a second class from IGNO, because it is so tough to crack these exams here, and it is so tough, and content also is vast. So that is why they say it
on
other
is worth getting even a 50 mark from here than in from.
you are
the
studying an
syllabus of
international
this university provides us with the opportunity to aspire for UGC NET and research field also. So it has to be like that.
and you see that for
Yes,
your
exactly. You
information,
are
I
eligible
say this
for
thing,
P.
and those who are preparing for
Sir?
any competitive examination, those who are preparing for any competitive examination, they take help of this study materials of IGNO because it's the best preparation that you find with IGNO. You may not find it elsewhere. You see, for that reason, IGNO is not a regional university. It is an international university. You just imagine. So they framed the syllabus and they have designed everything on the basis of international, not on the basis of any region or any country, right? That thing, so that if whenever we sit in examination and we
Yeah,
also come
most
up
of
and
the
some
MA
examination, they
graduates
come
are.
to face the interview. right? When
Sir, ME
when
graduates
we
are
put
eligible
them
for
questions, they
UGC
just
net.
answer like this. Graduate UGC net for UGC net, you need to complete post graduation, right? And
Yeah, at least, yeah,
that
mostly for that purpose, the content also is vast. For that, it is really difficult to crack UGC net in English.
right. Oh, that's the problem also students they face. But who succeeded, you'll find that they have prepared themselves because they have taken help of this IGNO course, IGNO syllabus. And they've designed in such a way that you just cannot imagine that. We all will appreciate that. You just cannot say anything against this syllabus and the preparation of that syllabus. And the script they provide to you, very top and very, we should say that it's very tough and very good, right? And if you just go through that, you'll find that you will
Sir,
achieve a lot in
sir,
your life. Okay.
sir. In fact, it's not tough because the syllabus that you're giving, I already studied it before at the university. But what I'm talking about is that when making the final exams and the assignments tough, this is makes the students get boring. This is what I'm talking about. So, all the
The
plays and
excerpts are
the
a problem
projects.
for you, I think.
Actually, your question was that how to.
It's what I.
The extracts are a
Then
problem for you, I think.
what suggestion you would like to give?
Yes, I find the extracts and the
Right.
excerpts.
It is okay.
It's for me. It's a problem. I'm talking about myself. I maybe
This
I
is
need
common
to get
problem.
Google with me the day of the exam to find
Hello, hello,
the
hello.
author
Let,
quickly.
let let me have 1 minute,
and
please.
hello,
Uh,
what
hello.
journal suggestion?
Sir, I joined with
Okay.
this. I registered for this
Hello.
course on October 2nd, I believe, on 2023. Later on, I just found that
Okay.
the course start from. It is related from July to July 23 something. Okay, whatever it is there. How many of the students from this group have chance to just read any book? Nobody, I believe. After this joining or
Nobody.
registration,
You are very practical.
after the registration, IGNOU have
Okay.
not
This.
mentioned anything. Which book you need to just refer and what are the process of the studies? Nothing they have just given. Only I found the timetable of these classes, which was started from the February 15th or 25th. I don't know. I don't
Other
remember
thing
that.
that most of
So
students they cannot
whenever some
link
students
themselves.
join with the course, they must just initially say these are the courses we are just going to study, and you need to just refer these books, and otherwise you can just search somewhere there. Without any information, we were listening the course and we are suffering to just make even the assignments. This is a
No,
reality happening here.
no, this
Okay,
is the
this
really
much only
common.
from my side.
No, no, this is not your problem. This is a common problem that lies with almost all learners because offline classes is preferable and you will understand a lot in offline classes. Better advice, better consultation, everything will be perfect. But this cannot be done on online. And we find a lot of problems. There is network problem, and there are a lot of problems that you find. Sometimes you will not be audible to others, and your voice. Many technical problems arise at the time of engaging the classes. And this is common problem. It is not with you. It's
Okay, sir.
with
If
almost all.
so, IGNOU must just inform us. You have to just point out some questions. That means not the exact questions, some annotations which are supposed to be come from this courses, this dramas and poetries, everything. This is the best way to just solve this problem. Otherwise, we cannot just search all the books. We cannot just read anything. We cannot just complete all the assignments in the time. So many are there. But personally, I don't fear anything because if I get a chance to appear only, I will do. Otherwise, I will wind up. It's not a big problem. But other students, those who are expecting their degree or PG from this level, they need more support. Asana,
Definitely.
uh, Okay,
That
okay.
is real, real. So there are some reference books are sold, and if you come upon them, I think that will be very helpful also. And in India, we also avail that book here. But in other parts, other part of
No, sir, where is the available time for this one to refer this question? Where are the time for this one? That's my question. Nobody have
others,
the time because
no, no,
they are
that's right,
preparing their assignment
100%
now.
right.
Yeah.
I agree with you because you may not find enough time to get yourself prepared. Because I told, because the question and suggestion was being given by one of the learners, he is not engaged elsewhere, and he is talking that what experience that he has experienced in his life. He was talking about that. But that is not the reality. That doesn't happen in case of all learners. Almost all learners are engaged somewhere and they are doing part-time course here in IGNO. And that is the purpose IGNO carries, to provide course to all the people. You may be in any other job, no matter, but if you are interested for any course,
Sir, let
IGNO
me
is
say one example.
facility.
Right, I already mentioned that April. Sir, let me say one example. I already mentioned
Okay.
that in the group that I am just going to face my final exam from Trinity College of London, music. They have 1 year before they have just given all the syllabus. They have pointed out you have to select these songs, these chords, these other things are there. It is not a matter for you to just understand because there are so many lots of work practical side. We want to just play everything whatever they are expecting, and each and every timing, rhythming, and musical level, everything should be there. Even we don't have enough chose to just use different fingers for the playing of songs. They are watching everything, and but there is a chance because so far they have just given in advance. We can just prepare, we can just practice, we can just make it sure for everything. I am confident. I have already covered that one. I am waiting for the date of exam only. I think it is on April. But for this case, for or IGNO, they have just asked us to just
Right.
join, and we joined by payment, everything. And later on, 1 or 2 or 3 months later, they are informed that there is a class which is going to be started. You can attend. Okay, we started from there always. But we are saying these poor students, those who are just attending this course, they don't have any chance to just find the time to read any book.
That's a very practical thing that you are telling, and actually, I do admit this. And other things that is being told and suggested by some other learners, it's widely not accepted, and universally it is not acceptable, because that learner from Tunisia that she speaks, actually she speaks, she raised very pertinent questions, that how can we attend, because the extract they set in examination, we don't have knowledge on that matters because we have not gone through that matters thoroughly, and we don't get time at all to go through that matter thoroughly. That's the problem of all learners.
Okay, okay,
So
sir.
very
Okay,
few.
okay. Can I have? I have one question also. Anyone know what time the exam starts? Which month and the date, so that I can just arrange my vacation from here to India. Anyone can say?
June.
January
It's in
one
June.
one
It's in June.
right,
June,
right,
June
June
1,
and January also.
June. Sorry, sir.
January, we have two sessions. Admission session. We have two admission session. One is in December.
Uh,
Other one is
uh,
uh, July and June. So
July.
two times exemption take place.
Okay.
So if your admission is in June and July session, then in the same
July
month,
session. July session.
right? Then your exemption will be just July or June.
No, sir, you don't have any proper idea?
No, I know this is the go and this thing going on, and we are
June
also
and
conducting
or
exams
this
in
June
this
and December. Mhm.
No,
December.
anyone who knows exactly, please. Yeah, I have a request. Anyone who know exactly the timing of this one, please just let me know also because I need to just go India for the vacation. During this time, I already just uh, arranged my vacation for May 1st. If it is
Now
June,
you
I
are
can be
where?
there also. Yeah.
You are now in
Sorry,
which country? You are now in
now
which
I am
country?
UAE, Dubai.
Dubai. Oh, Bijan.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes,
Next
sir.
one
So anyone who knows in the next class,
June. Other one is in
in the next meeting also,
January. Other one is June.
January means next
One is
25.
suppose 25 January and 24 June. 24
24
June
June.
and
Hmm.
25 January.
Okay,
You'll have
okay,
exam.
okay, okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
If you are, okay. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you. Nice
sir.
to meet to all of you. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for your
Thank you so
detailed
much,
Thank you.
sir.
explanation of the place. I really
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you. I'm waiting for
Thank you for
another
your
session if I get any opportunity by that
Yes,
IGNOU.
sir.
Again, I will meet to all of you.
thank you so
So
much.
thank you. Nice to meet all of you.
Thank you.
And I spent my time. I illumine my thought with all of you. So I enjoyed my time engaging the class with all honors. Thank you all. Thank
Sir,
you.
especially thanks from my side for your class.
Anyone like session? If you have got to try it, my level 12. Thank you.